All right, so we're diving straight in today.
Mm,
It's a topic that's probably on a lot of minds right now in 2025.
for sure.
It's all about those personal finances, trying to make the best choices in a, well, let's face it, a tough economic climate.
hmm
And to help us unpack this, we're going straight to the source.
Okay.
Susan Wanjiku's YouTube channel, she's got a ton of practical advice,
Oh, she's great.
really usable tips on her channel.
Yeah,
So that's what this deep dive is all about.
absolutely.
Extracting those strategies that can really make a difference.
Exactly.
Not just to survive, but, maybe even thrive.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep moving towards those financial goals no matter what's happening out there.
Yep.
And the cool thing is we're working directly from a transcript of one of her videos.
Oh, wow.
So it's straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
I love that.
Her insights, her experience. You know what she's actually telling her viewers?
hmm
Let's jump right in.
Okay.
First thing that really struck me is how she emphasizes getting real with your finances.
Yes.
Not just kind of glancing at your payslip.
Yeah.
She's talking about really understanding that net income,
Right.
not just the gross amount.
Huge difference.
Right.
Especially now.
Yeah, in 2025, with all these changes,
Absolutely.
deductions going up, businesses maybe seeing a little less profit than usual,
Hmm.
that net figure, what's actually hitting your bank account, that's what matters.
It is the bottom line.
Yeah, and from there, it's hitting that reset button on your budget.
Yep.
She actually says, rework the budget with the new reality in mind.
Love that.
So it's not about how things used to be.
No.
It's about where you are right now.
Right now.
And it's so easy to just get caught up in complaining.
Oh, for sure.
But she makes this point that it's not about venting.
Right.
It's about taking action.
Absolutely.
So budgeting from that net figure, that's where you start taking control.
100%.
And I think for a lot of us, whether you're dealing with deductions or maybe business has slowed down a bit,
hmm
that shift to budgeting from the net, that's got to feel like a bit of a wake-up call,
Yeah, it is. It's a reality check.
but a necessary one.
For sure.
All right, so then she gets into something that she's super clear about,
Okay.
tracking expenses.
hmm
In 2025, it's not a suggestion.
Yeah.
It's not even really advice. It's like a command.
She's serious about it.
Yeah, she says straight up, you cannot not track your expenses.
Wow.
And I think especially now with the cost of living being what it is,
Yeah.
knowing where every shilling goes, it's essential.
It really is.
And she tells the story about a client who thought they were spending, maybe 15,000 shillings on food and household stuff each month.
Uh-huh.
And it turned out to be way more.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably something a lot of us can relate to,
I-
that gap between what we think we're spending and what's really happening.
Yeah, that reality check.
Right. But I know for some people, when they start tracking, they see those numbers and they kind of get discouraged.
Right.
Maybe they had a slip up or something.
Ah, it can be tough.
She talks about a client who felt that way too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But she makes this a really important point that it's not about being perfect.
It's about awareness.
Exactly. You can't change what you don't even know is happening.
So true.
And to help with the tracking, she actually has a budgeting tool on her website.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And she's giving a discount to her YouTube community.
Nice.
It was originally 750 shillings, but for 24 hours after the video, it's 300 shillings off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it gives you both a monthly and an annual view of your finances.
That's great.
And she recommends using it alongside mobile apps like Money Manager.
I love that app.
Yeah, so you get the best of both worlds.
For sure.
She says that seeing it all laid out in that Excel sheet, you can really see the story of your finances,
Mm-hmm.
how things change over time.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you with fluctuating income,
Yeah.
freelancers, business owners,
Absolutely.
she emphasizes that your budget needs to be flexible.
Oh, for sure.
She says, no one month that should be the same as the other.
Right.
So it's about being adaptable, reviewing things regularly.
Mm-hmm.
She even suggests having a money meeting or a money date with yourself each month.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes it sound less like a chore and
Totally.
more like an important appointment.
It is. It's a commitment to your financial well-being.
Exactly. And ultimately, she frames budgeting and financial literacy as a lifestyle.
A lifestyle?
Like, your fitness routine or your skincare routine.
Mm-hmm.
It's about making it a habit, something you do consistently for your overall well-being.
It's an investment in yourself.
It is. Okay, let's talk about emergency funds.
Okay.
This is something she is super passionate about. And in the current economic climate, it makes a lot of sense.
For sure.
She says for most Kenyans right now, an emergency fund is the highest priority.
Wow.
Higher than paying off debt, even. Yeah, and she uses this really powerful example of the USAID organizational changes
I,
and how that led to job losses in NGOs.
yeah.
Even seemingly stable jobs aren't always guaranteed.
That's true.
And that's where the emergency fund comes in. It gives you that peace of mind knowing you can handle those unexpected events without going into debt.
That peace of mind is priceless.
It really is. And she emphasizes that you don't need to start with a huge amount.
Oh, good.
Just start small.
Yeah.
Build that habit.
Yeah, consistency is key.
Exactly. And even if you tithe regularly, she encourages making the emergency fund a priority too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe think about it as a percentage of your income.
That's a good idea.
Alongside your other commitments.
Right.
Now, even when things get really tight, she advises against completely stopping your emergency fund contributions.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, maybe reduce the amount, but don't stop altogether.
Okay.
It's about maintaining that consistency.
Right.
I know it's tempting to want to cut back on savings when money is tight.
Yeah, it's the natural instinct.
But she says go against the green.
Go against the green.
Meaning compromise on your spending first.
Okay, I like that.
And if things are really tough, she suggests a bare bones budget.
Bare bones.
Yeah, just the absolute necessities.
Wow.
No extras whatsoever.
No.
She even talks about how she used this strategy herself when she was freelancing after losing her job.
Oh, wow.
So that's something she's actually done.
That's good to know.
Yeah, and she ends this section with a really reassuring point.
Okay.
Economic downturns, they're usually temporary.
They're cyclical.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Things will eventually turn around.
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay, let's talk debt.
Okay.
Susan Wanjiku's got some strong opinions on this one,
Uh-huh.
particularly when it comes to high-interest loans.
Right.
She specifically mentions things like FAS and CalERS in the Kenyan context.
Yeah, those could be brutal.
And, of course, credit card debt.
Mm-hmm.
Her advice is don't compromise on paying those off.
I agree with that.
Get rid of them as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that high interest can really hurt.
And once those debts are gone, that frees up your income for other things.
Right, like wealth creation and savings.
Exactly. You're not just getting out of debt, you're setting yourself up for future success.
Absolutely.
Now, on the flip side, she's very much against taking on new consumer debt in 2025.
Makes sense.
Especially for things you don't absolutely need.
Yeah, like that trip to Dubai or the brand new car.
Right, especially with interest rates being as high as they are.
Yeah, 19 to 23% per annum on unsecured loans.
That's a lot.
It is.
And she even talks about the social pressure to spend.
Oh, yeah, trying to impress people on social media.
Yeah, it's so easy to fall into that trap.
It is.
But she's saying prioritize your financial stability over trying to look good online.
Smart advice.
So ultimately, she sees 2025 as a year to attack existing debt.
Okay.
Minimize taking on anything new.
Mm-hmm.
She says both because of the economic climate and the policy uncertainties we're seeing here in Kenya.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's all about being cautious, protecting yourself. Okay, now let's shift gears a bit and talk about increasing your income.
Okay.
This is something she calls a killer solution to financial problems.
Interesting.
And I get it, there's only so much you can cut back on expenses.
Right. Especially if you have family to support.
Yeah, but increasing your income, well, that gives you more wiggle room.
For sure.
She encourages thinking outside the box, not relying on just one income source.
Mm-hmm. Multiple streams of income.
Exactly. And she even mentions a previous video she made about starting a business with limited capital.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, she says she'll link to it in the description.
Great.
And she suggests thinking about ways to monetize the skills and talents you already have,
Yeah.
or even your social media presence.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many platforms out there like Upwork and Fiverr.
Yeah, those are great resources.
And she addresses the common excuses we all make.
Oh, yeah, like I'm too busy.
Right, or I don't know how.
Yeah.
But she says necessity is the mother of invention.
Love that.
So be open to new possibilities. Ask yourself, what if?
What if?
And she does acknowledge that increasing your income, it's a long game.
It takes time.
Yeah, but even small steps can make a big difference over time.
That's true.
She poses this question that really hit home for me.
Okay.
If you made double what you make right now, probably half the problems, if not more, that you already have would be sorted.
Wow, that's powerful.
Right.
Yeah, it really puts things into perspective.
It did. Okay, so now let's say you've tackled your savings goals.
Mm-hmm.
You've got some surplus income.
Okay.
Susan Wanjiku talks about investing that money wisely,
Right.
particularly in assets that can outpace inflation.
Yeah, you don't want your money losing value.
Exactly. She emphasizes knowing the inflation rate for your country.
Mm-hmm.
Right now in Kenya, it's about 6 to 7%.
Okay.
So she says, You want to look for investments that are going to give you a return significantly higher than that.
Okay, so like 10 to
Yeah,
13%?
something in that range.
Okay.
He mentions well-performing mutual funds as an example. And she talks about how, in the past, high-yield treasury bills and bonds were a good option.
Right.
But the returns on those have declined a bit recently.
Yeah, the market's always changing.
Exactly. So it's important to stay informed.
Absolutely.
She also recommends looking into real estate.
Okay.
But again, it's about doing your research, understanding the local market. The key takeaway here is to be wary of investments that don't offer a return that's higher than inflation.
Yeah, you don't want to lose money in real terms.
Exactly. And she even mentions a previous episode where they talked about education and endowment policies.
Oh, interesting.
And how those might not be the best performers in the current market.
Got
So it's about being willing to reassess your investments, making sure they're still working for you.
Makes sense.
All right, last but certainly not least,
Okay.
Susan Wanjiku emphasizes the importance of financial education.
Yeah.
She calls it your best weapon in tough economic times.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
And she says an investment in education will always pay you the best return.
So true.
And that applies to your financial education just as much as anything else.
Absolutely.
She encourages staying informed, reading business news, following economic developments. She even mentions the Yuso saga here in Kenya and how that might affect dividends.
Oh, wow.
So it's about being aware of what's happening around you.
Yeah, staying in the loop.
Exactly. She also recommends learning about money market funds, government bills, and bonds, all those things we talked about earlier. It's all connected.
It is.
And she suggests learning from a variety of sources, not just her channel, but other creators, podcasts, books. There's so much out there.
There is a ton of information available.
And she makes this really interesting point.
Okay.
She says the people who thrive during tough times, they often know what other people do not know.
Interesting.
So it's about having that knowledge advantage. And finally, she recommends seeking out expert advice if you need it.
Yeah, sometimes it's helpful to have that personalized guidance.
Absolutely. And she ends with this really powerful statement.
Okay.
If you do not do anything else, make sure you get literacy.
Powerful.
So there you have it.
Wow.
Our deep dive into Susan Wanjiku's financial wisdom.
That was a lot.
It was a lot.
But so good.
Right.
Yeah. So much valuable information.
So just to recap, we talked about getting real with your finances, budgeting from your net income, the absolute necessity of tracking expenses.
Yes.
Making that emergency fund a top priority.
So important.
Strategically managing and reducing debt.
Yep.
Finding ways to increase your income. Investing smartly in inflation-proof assets.
If you can.
And, of course, continuously improving your financial literacy.
The foundation of it all.
Absolutely. So as a final thought for you, our listener,
Go.
what's one small action you can take today based on what we've discussed?
Yeah, just one thing.
Maybe review your last payslip. Write down everything you spent money on today.
Okay.
Look up the current inflation rate.
Oh, yeah.
Just one small step to start moving in the right direction.
Yeah, that's how it starts.
And maybe even think about which of these points resonated most with you.
Okay.
Why did that particular piece of advice stand out? What does that tell you about your current financial priorities?
Good question.
It's all about awareness, taking control, and building that financial resilience.
Absolutely.
And that's what Susan Wanjiku is all about.
She is a wealth of knowledge.
All right, that's our deep dive for today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
It was great.
Until next time.
See ya.
Take care. Bye.